I'll kind of hand over to Teddy to do the most interesting part.
All right, thank you, Harsha, for that nice overview of the feature. So I'm going to now share my screen. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen. Yep. All right, perfect. So the main topic of today's community meeting is a mini webinar on data culture, and then more specifically, a demo of our Data Insight feature that we just released in 0.13. So first, what is data culture? So data culture, we can define it as a shared belief inside an organization to use data to improve decision-making and performance. So it comes in contrast with other type of cultures that may exist. And a few characteristics of this type of culture is that decisions are made by using data. So we're prioritizing data in making decisions as opposed to feeling or other type of approach when making decisions. Importantly, people are empowered to use data. So they have the tools, they have the capability and the know-how of using data to make their decision. And data inside the organization are managed as products, right? So your data assets are managed in the same way that a product team will work on delivering and shipping product out of the door. So those are a few characteristics of what a data culture is. And so now most importantly is, why are we talking about data culture and why is it important? So if we look at different reports that have been done by consulting firm, one of which is a report done by McKinsey, what they observe is companies that are implementing that are data-driven, so data-driven organization, generally experience above market growth. And so increased revenue, profitability, and operational efficiency. But what we also observe from different research paper out there is that the number one challenge mentioned by CDO to actually fully realize the benefit of a data-driven organization is the data culture, right? So they see data culture inside the organization as the main challenge in fully achieving what a data-driven organization can do. So I'll quickly go over how you can achieve a data culture, and of course it's a very condensed slide, and there's much more to say on the topic. But what's important to know is achieving data culture is not just about tooling or about technology. It's also about culture and talent and technology. So it's a combination of all of those three topics that allow an organization to reach full potential and achieve a data culture. And talking more specifically about technology, because that's where open metadata fits when organizations are trying to achieve data culture. The key factors that are important is the discoverability of data, right? How can I discover my data inside my organization? And that can be easily solved through technology using a tool like OpenMetadata. And data literacy and governance also are also elements that can be solved using data catalogs such as OpenMetadata. Basically, if we were to look at how OpenMetadata help organizations achieve this, on the discovery side, you have the metadata catalog, where data assets inside the organization are centralized and readily accessible for anyone inside the organization. Literacy, with open metadata, you have description, glossary term, collaboration element inside the tool that allows people to understand what metrics we're talking about, what data asset we're referring to, and all of these kind of elements that help people be more literate with their data asset. And finally, governance, what we see, we have the ability in the platform to set ownership, to set tiering of data, and also to add quality tests and these kind of elements. And at the end of the day, it's all about making better decisions using data, right? And to achieve better to make sure that you make better decisions using data, you need to trust your data, right? You need to make sure it's documented and it's discoverable across your organization. Now, once you've implemented a tool such as OpenMetadata, it's only the first step in achieving a data culture. So you need to drive adoption and make sure that your investment is accessible so that you are able to understand, am I working towards better literacy? Am I working towards better discovery? Am I working towards better data contracts inside my organization? And with the introduction of OpenMetadata Insight, it allows you to have an overview of what your data platform health is, right? So how many assets do I have? How many assets with descriptions do I have? And then on top of that, we've introduced the KPI aspect around the data insight, which allows you to actually set goal and drive the adoption of your organization of that tool so that you can assess how you are progressing towards your goal of achieving a better data culture inside your organization by making sure that specific elements that are important are being worked on, right? So am I having a better coverage of ownership inside my data platform? Do I have a better coverage of description? And all of these elements are important elements to answer those questions of discoverability, literacy, and governance and contractualization of your data assets. So that's it for the small introduction around the data culture, and I'm going to hand it over to Sachin so that he can walk us through the actual data insight inside OpenMetadata and show you how you can leverage it inside your organization to drive data culture. All right, so I will stop sharing.
Yeah.
And I will hand it over to Sachin.
So thank you for nicely putting like why data culture is important and like how we can improve the data culture. So from past releases, we got a lot of feedback from the community. Like now we have metadata from different sources, but now we want to see the how this metadata is being getting used, and we want to track how much coverage of the basically the documentation of our data asset that we have. So
Sachin, you're not okay.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Is my screen is visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, we have provided a single pane for the coverage of the data asset that you have. So in this data insight page, we have different charts. So as you can see at the top, we have this summary card where you can see like how many total data asset you have and how much data asset are with the description and how much data asset with the ownership and how many data asset are labeled with the tiers. So these are the some important metrics that we capture. So basically in this page, we have divided these metrics in two parts. Basically, the first is data asset. So this chart basically show the important metrics around the data asset that we have in the open metadata. So the first one is this total data asset. So it's basically shows you the number of the total data asset by the breaking down into the data asset type. So as you can see, we have the if I take the today's example, so in today's date we have a table as a 3.4K table and other data assets. And another chart we have is like how much percentage is covered my data asset. So basically we can track the documentation with the help of this chart. So here you can see the charts for the coverage of the description. Similarly, we have chart for the owners. It basically shows how much data asset are labeled with the ownership. And the last but not the least, we have a chart for the tiering. So it's basically shows you the data asset by tier. So based on this tiering, you can see like how much data is important and how much data is labeled with tier 1 so that we can make a better decision. And another part that we have is the app analytics. So in the app analytics, basically, it will show you the usage of the data asset that you have in the open metadata. So the first chart shows the top 10 most viewed data asset, as you can see here. And then we have another chart for showing like which is the most interest data asset by type. So as you can see here, we have different data asset by their types. So this is the page views that is most interested in your organization. And the next part, we have the chart for the like how your what is the usage of your data asset in the open metadata. So you can track the daily active user. And then we have this top 10 most active user. So basically, we track this by the total number of session and average time that the user have spent. So here you can see who is the most active user and which team he belongs. And then the last, what is the most recent session and total number of session and what is the average time he has spent on the platform. So as we have seen like how we are capturing the metrics, but let's see how we can capture these metrics with the help of the data insight workflow. So to create a workflow, you can navigate to the settings and then you can go to the metadata service. So this is a new service that we have added in the 0.13 release. And here you will get one service, metadata service. And here you can create data insight pipeline. So there is already created one pipeline. So for course of this demo, I will just show by editing this pipeline. So here basically you can provide the pipeline name or by default we provide the name, so you can keep as it is. The next thing we have, so if you have your custom Elasticsearch setup, then you can provide your Elasticsearch configuration here. This is an optional step. You can skip if you want. The next step is to schedule your pipeline. Basically, we would recommend to schedule this pipeline to run daily at night basis so that we can have more accurate data. And then you can submit and it will deploy the pipeline. You can manually run this pipeline. Another thing that we have is, so basically, let's be honest, we can't improve if we don't measure, right? So to achieve that thing, like in the organization, we want to set some goal, set some objective, like how much documentation I want for my data asset that I have in metadata. So to solve this problem, basically we have provided option to add the KPIs, key performance indicator. So to add the KPIs, what you can do, you can go to the, you can view all the KPIs by clicking on the KPI list, and here you can add KPIs. So here basically you can provide the name, display name, and here you will get the chart type. So basically, let's say if I'm selecting the percentage for entity, and here based on the chart type that you have selected, we are providing two types of metrics. So basically you can set your objective based on a relative or, or or you can set as an absolute number. So for the course of this demo, I will set as a percentage, and I want this to be 66%. Let me define the name as well. Complete ownership. And the next part is the start date and end date. So we will show the date. So this is something, and you can also add some description so that anyone seeing this KPI, they get like what this KPI meant for, and you can click on something. So here we get the KPI. So this to track the progress of this KPI, basically, you have to wait for the next run of the pipeline. So for the course of this demo, I will go with the. Okay, so we have both the KPIs here. So as you can see, we have one KPI complete description. So here basically we are sharing like what is the target that you have set and what is the current target that you have achieved today. And we also show the like how many days are left for that KPI. And here we show the line graph basically like daily how much progress you are making for that achieving that goal. So with the help of this KPI, basically you can track your progress and you can see like how much coverage you have covered and how much your metadata is documented, right? Also, we have provided a filter. So we provided a you can filter this data by a number of days. So currently we support 4 option like 7, 14, 30 and 60 days. So you can filter it by number of days. So it will show. So if you see last 14 days, I only had 131 data asset, but if I filter it to 30 days, then it will increase basically. Next thing, we have filter for tiering. So tiering is an important aspect in the data culture. Basically, so we want to first track the progress of the data asset, which is more important. So you can filter this metrics by tier. And also you can filter this metrics by the team. So you can see like which team is making how much progress this particular team making progress. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what we have for the Data Insight. So does anyone have
just to add a little more context of about what we are doing with the data insights and KPIs. So one of the questions that keep coming from the community is how do I measure success of open metadata? Or how do I measure success of doing any cataloging or documenting all of these steps, right? So, and also how do I encourage my teams to do it? So it's hard to get kind of people to write documentations. We have known this issue for a long time, right? So what we are doing with the KPIs is a way to kind of set a goal and nudge your teams to get to a better state. When you start the open metadata on day one, you can actually grab all the descriptions and details from your sources, such as Snowflake, BigQuery, whatnot. But you want to kind of improve that description coverage. You want to understand, you probably have thousands of data assets, and you want to understand the most important one of them. So the way you can do that today is with the KPIs and the data insights is, first, you can actually observe how the platform is actually behaving for your users. Are they find it interesting? Are they engaged with the app analytics? Then you can also look at how the documentation, ownership, tiering, and all the other things are progressing towards to get a better data, right? So, and one way to encourage people to do is set up a KPI, let's say quarterly goals or something like that. And once you set up a KPI at the organization level, OpenMetadata frequently weekly sends a report saying that, hey, your team owns 20 data assets, right? And out of them, 10 of them have descriptions, but none of them, the rest of them doesn't have anything. So please move along because your organization set a goal of 80% by end of quarter. So that way you are actually nudging them to do a better job at the documentation, tiering, and tagging or whatnot. So once you have this documentation, tiering, and documentation, you have much more fully fledged catalog experience for the users. People find it interesting, people find it more engaging. Otherwise, you have the OpenMetadata, any other cataloging tool, it's there, pretty static. So we are approaching using data insights as a KPIs as a way to nudge your teams to get to a better state. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, anything interesting that you want to kind of add to the reports, we are happy to take the future request and kind of feedback from you. All right. Yeah, if no other questions, thanks again for joining us in this webinar. And yeah, please keep the feedback coming in. Any contributions, any feedback, we really appreciate that. And we are fairly active on our Slack. Please join us if you're not already. And yeah, that concludes this month's webinar, and we look forward to meeting you again, hopefully in January. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.